All right, let's start by previewing the offense. Now, a couple things have come out since J.J.'s release that have been very interesting, and I think, we've been looking for answers of why this offense is not performing up to its talents, and, it's mostly speculation. Obviously, we think, okay, maybe it's just the players are inherently inconsistent. That's the reason. We really don't know, and I think some of the things that have come out over the last couple of days have really given us concrete answers. It came out today, I think it was either today or yesterday, Adam Gase said he's had trouble fitting the scheme with his personnel that he's had here. And obviously, he's only been here a year and a half, if that. So he inherited almost every player on this team, especially on offense. He wasn't here when J.J. was drafted. He wasn't here when Jarvis was drafted. And you really can see on the offense that the 2016 draft class is very prevalent in our offense. And that's not by coincidence. That's obviously for a bigger reason why is because he drafted those players that he thought would fit the scheme. But most of the stars on this team were before him. People forget Kenny Stills was before him. Obviously, Juice was. Devontae was before him. Most of the offensive line was before him. When you talk about Mike, so I guess not most of it, just mainly Mike and Juwan, really. So if that's the case, I think this Jay Ajayi trade, it makes it more, I guess, okay. It's not okay. I don't like the trade. I mean, I understand why we had to get rid of him, and it's a completely valid reason. But for only a 4th round pick, that's a little insane. For, in my opinion, the 2nd to 3rd best running back in his conference at the time when he was in the AFC. So all that aside, though, I think personnel-wise, this team that we have now on the roster, when you talk about Kenyon and Damian in the backfield, I think it fits his scheme more than it did with J.J. I'm not going to go deep into the weeds of this because we did that in the podcast. We really detailed those reasons why I think that. But when you look at Adam Gase's career, his offense in Denver, his offense in Chicago, it's completely different than it has been here in Miami. Even in Chicago, it was very similar to what he was doing in Denver. When he came to Miami, we didn't find an identity till probably mid-season. Not mid-season, early on in the first half of the year. We really found our groove when we played the Pittsburgh Steelers. Ever since then, really, never in an Adam Gase system has there been so much smash mouth football. We really became a power outside zone running scheme, which has always been a part of his offense, but a lot more under center, a lot more power football, a lot more physical football, and that really worked for us in 2016. In 2017, it hasn't worked for us. I think another big reason why we've struggled on third down short yardage situations is because J.J. is not a good receiving back. Over the offseason, I think we put a lot of stock into him, thinking he's improved it over the offseason. I think Adam had a lot of faith in him, and he just really never panned out. And we didn't really start using Damian on third down until really he got a lot more snaps in the Falcons game. And that's, I think, just the game he really got a ton of snaps on third down. And some in the Tennessee game, but mostly I think he got the most snaps in the Falcons game. But even then, he really got rarely any. So, contrary to popular belief within the Dolphins fan community, I really think this roster, when you really look at it, fits Adam Gase's original system before he came here to Miami. I'm not going to talk about it a ton, but you guys know, when he had No Sean Reno, when he had Matt Forte, those guys were really good receiving backs. And ever since Adam Gase has been a play caller, he's had a really good receiving back, and that is a huge part of his offense. So now that we have that, we have a better receiving back in Damian Williams. We have a natural pass catcher in Kenyon Drake. I think the personnel fits the scheme more than it did before. Now, will we see results because of that? I don't know. It's going to be very interesting. Adam Gase really, when he talks about the offense, you really get the sense that he has faith in the offensive line, that he's not too upset with how they've performed. Now, obviously, he's not happy about it, but he's not too upset about it. So, I think, obviously, he really hasn't made any adjustments because of how the offensive line has performed. Like, it's not hampering our play calling at all, so, which is a good thing. So, it shouldn't hamper us in this Raiders game, but I think the play calling is going to be different. I think you're going to see a lot more shotgun, for sure, a ton more shotgun because of the personnel. I think you're rarely going to see under center for most of the game, which is going to be fun because that's more of a traditional Adam Gase offense. So you're going to see a completely different offense on Sunday, which is going to be fun. I think as us as fans and in that locker room, they need something different. I think what we've been doing all year hasn't worked. So to drastically change things, I think is going to help the team. I think it's going to get them excited, and we'll see if it turns out into some victories here. But I think it will, and I think again this personnel does fit the scheme more. Now, when you talk about the matchup with the Raiders that we can take advantage of, people forget Devontae it's actually surprised me when I looked at it, but he's actually been out for 4 games. I mean, he missed the Titans game, the Falcons game, the Jets game, and the Ravens game, which is crazy to me. So he's missed most of the season. So to have him back is huge for this offense. When he was in the lineup, he was the best receiver on the team. And Jarvis Landry's great. Kenny Stills was really good. But Devontae Parker, when he was in the lineup, he was by far, when you watched our team, the best receiver on the team. So now that he's back, that's going to give us a huge boost. But when you look at the Raiders, their strength is their D-line. I mean, that really keeps them in games. So if you get third and long situations and you're not winning the battle on first and second down and you're not a balanced football team, that's really going to hurt you in this game. So we need to get better first and second down looks, better situations on first and second down, get short yardage situations on third down, because that's going to be key. If we get a ton of 3rd and 10s in this game, it's really, really going to hurt us, and that allows Khalil Mack to really win the game for them. When you talk about the weaknesses of this Raiders defense, is the back end. Their back end has played terrible all year. They don't have Garen Conley, their first round pick, he's out. They're getting Obi Melanopoulos back from injury, but he's a rookie safety. Other than those guys, we talk about David Amerson, who I don't even think is playing in this game, but even if he is, he's really struggled all year. Sean Smith, he has not been the same player for the last 2 years. Really, he's really on a bad streak here. TJ Carey is probably their best corner. Their best DB on the entire team is Carl Joseph. He's more of a Cam Chancellor type as opposed to a ball hawk. He's a tone-setting safety. So the Dolphins, we have a really good chance, especially in this game with the new personnel, to pass the football more, and I think that's going to help us in this game. But we still have to be balanced. We still have to win the battles on first and second down. But I think we can really take advantage of that secondary of the Oakland Raiders if we win the battle on first and second down. Even though Jay's gone, and I think we're going to pass it a whole lot more, and our offense is going to look totally different, I think we still have to be a balanced football team, obviously, to win this game. But passing is going to come in. Big plays in general is going to really win us this game. We have to hit on the deep ball. We have to attack their secondary like we did against the Jets, and really use our talented skill positions to have success in this game. All right, let's talk about the defense in previewing this game. Now, you guys have all season have heard me talk highly of this defense. I still believe it's one of the best in the league. If the offense wasn't so inept, their stats would look a ton, just not even close to what they look like right now. They would look way better. But to talk about some negatives first of the defense, especially the past 2 weeks, they need to clean up the big play on the back end. The touchdown to Jeremy Maclin, the touchdown to Robbie Anderson, that stuff needs to be cleaned up. The touchdown to Jermaine Kearse at the first drive of the Jets game. Some of that stuff is miscommunication on the back end. Some of that stuff is Cordrea Tankersley being a rookie. And the Maclin touchdown, that was 100% somebody wasn't doing their job right on that play. Somebody took the wrong guy. And Bobby really tried to make up for Cordrea's mistake and make a play on the ball. He just was too far away from the play to do that. So in this game, when you talk about what we're going against, you talk about Derek Carr, who loves to take shots deep. He's a gunslinger. You talk about Michael Crabtree, Amari Cooper. Those two, I mean, most of their plays are 50-50 catches, and both of them are ball hawks, great hands. So going into this game, we know the big play is going to be a big part of the Oakland Raiders offense. They're going to take a ton of shots vertically down the field. So on the back end, we have to clean some of those things up, because they're not just going to do it once, they're not just going to do it twice, they're going to do it multiple times. And that's something that we have struggled with when you talk about the Falcons game. The Titans game, even the Titans game, we gave up a huge touchdown pass to a tight end. We gave up a huge touchdown pass that was a long ball to Delaney Walker that was called back. You talk about the Falcons game, a big touchdown pass in that game. The Jets game, a couple big touchdown passes. And in the Ravens game, to Jerry Maclin. So that's been a common thread and a common theme through the last 3-4 games. We've given up a big touchdown. So in this game, they're going to take their shots. And obviously, them as Derek Carr and their offensive coordinator, they're going to notice that. And that's something that they do well. So that's something that we're going to have to clean up in this game. And when you talk about how we can do some of those things, it starts with the running game. You know, they've really struggled to establish that, mainly because they haven't really settled on who their starting running back is. They've really, you know, tried DeAndre Washington, Jalen Richard, Marshawn Lynch. All three of them really haven't worked out so well. So hopefully they don't, you know, hopefully we can keep that going. And that's the strength of this football team. That's the strength of this defense. Is the strength of the football team, and the run defense is all. That's where it all starts for our defense. If we can get you in third and long situations, you're playing into our hands, and that allows our pass rushers to really take advantage of the game, and allows our D-line to dominate you on the offensive side of the football. So that's something we have to do. We have to be stout on first and second down, either in the quick passing game or it's the running game. We keep them in third and long on a consistent basis. That takes their big shot play, that takes their big playability out of the game, because they're not going to take big shots on third and long. They're going to try to pick up the first down. Now, if they're running the football on you and they're a balanced football team, they're going to take a ton of shots. So that's something that we have to do a great job of. We can really eliminate some of those big play calls by stuffing the run, and eliminating some of those quick passes to Seth Roberts and Cooper and Michael Crabtree. So those are some of the things the defense has to do a better job of, but I'm very confident in this defense. Despite having Nate Allen gone, I think Michael Thomas is the same safety, if not better. This defense is supremely talented when you talk about up front, and you see how that works for the Jets, for God's sakes. I mean, that really allows your back end to dominate the game as well, and we have two pretty good safeties as well right now. I like I said, I have a lot of faith in Michael, and Rashad's one of the best in the league. And, you know, the linebackers, you know, have been playing pretty well all season too. They definitely exceeded my expectations. So the defense is playing great. The offense is really going to have to come through in this game, and they're going to have to hit on the big play, because that secondary is struggling for the Raiders, and that has to be something, that has to be a big emphasis going into that game. We have to press their secondary and take a ton of shots downfield. Now, when you talk about the defense side of the football, eliminate the big play, stop the run to eliminate the big play, but the number one thing is eliminate the big play touchdown. That is going to be it, guys. I am Skag1383, and I hope to see you guys in the next one.